Today we're talking again with Gene, and today's theme is journaling, or your days. And Gene is going to take us through how he captures everything throughout his day, how he starts his day, how he ends his day, how the weekly statistics all get rolled up from all of the days across his week, and how he actually uses those insights in order to make meaningful change in his life. I feel like I need to give a fair warning. He is a maximalist, so you are going to walk away from this video with a lot of ideas that you want to implement yourself. So it might be best to watch this video in full when you have a pen and paper ready in order to take notes of things you want to change in your own system. Hello! If you are new here, my name is Dee and I am a PCAM consultant and tech enthusiast. I specialize in programs like Obsidian and Claude Code, and I build systems and tools for the use cases of journaling, for work, for studying, for writing, in order to make our lives just a little bit easier. Today's conversation is exactly why this channel exists. We're exploring how to make our lives a little bit richer. So if you got any insights from this video, please leave a like and give a comment, and let's broaden out this conversation. How do you do your journaling? I want to know.
Gene, welcome back. Excited to have another chat with you. So what have you been up to? Have you found anything new and interesting lately?
Yeah, thanks, Dee. So since I started using Claude Code inside of my Obsidian Vault, I have been able to streamline my daily routine, and it's been saving me a lot of time. Like I love my setup now. I've been waiting for years. I think we talked about this last time. I've been trying a lot of different apps, right? Waiting for this app that can bring all the different contexts of my life together in one place. I just could never find one. And now that I understand Claude Code and how my Obsidian structure works, I decided that, I don't need to find the app. I can just build it.
Oh, yeah.
I've been waiting for years for an app that can bring all the different contexts into my life into one place, right? Like my true second brain. But I just could never find something that works for me because I don't think there's anything out there that can do exactly what I wanted. And so then I realized, because I now understand Claude Code and how I've set it up in Obsidian in the life stack structure, I realized I don't need to find an app. Like I can just build it on my own. So that's what I've been doing over the last few weeks. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, the PCAM summit that I went to, I spoke to a lot of people and also wrote a small article about this, where my observation was last year compared to this year, that everybody is using these tools, even if you don't have coding experience. And old, young people who've never touched AI, never touched coding, never opened up a terminal, it seems intimidating at the beginning. So for me, I have some coding experience, so I'm not shy to use the terminal. But for somebody who is, it might feel like, oh, that's not the skill set that I have. But you basically have this thing that holds your hand when you incur a problem. It's not you need to go figure it out. It's just you having a conversation, which is nice. But you mentioned that our setups look a little bit different. And I think in one of the news articles that we're writing as well, where I also came to a conclusion like, oh, yes, we have two completely different setups, but the underlying structure is almost exactly the same. Like we're using the same base, but you personalize it to how you think, how you want to work. And for me, it's more the minimalistic style. It's like, no, I want a clean setup. I want no distractions. But I think it's a fun time to be alive where you can customize an application exactly to how you want it. So I'm keen to see how your daily workflow has progressed and how it looks now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So one thing that's been so interesting to me as we've been sharing with each other our daily journaling routine and the setup that we've built, every time I see your setup, like I'm just amazed by how clean and minimalist. Like everything is calm, it's intentional. You have a lot of breathing room everywhere. That's not how my brain works, right? Because my life has a lot of moving parts, like it's pretty chaotic, and my brain actually thrives in organized chaos. I think that's something that I've learned about myself. I need a little bit of chaos. If everything's too calm, like I kind of don't do my best work. I don't know how to
Interesting.
describe it. It's kind of like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Yeah.
So it looks like total chaos, but then there's kind of a structure underneath it all. And it's reflected in how I built out my second brain now. So my daily note, it's maximalist by design because I want my second brain to capture everything, right? It's capture everything so that I can then reflect back, that back into my life. So it's not just about highlighting. I think what I've observed with yours is it also reflects how you think because you're a very methodical person. And so I can see the minimalism, the calm on top of that structure and very focused. And I think that's the real beauty of how we're building with LifeStack. It's a system that has a very opinionated structure, how we log our daily logs, how the areas are being structured, your projects, all the meeting notes, your work session, all of that. There is like a reason behind how things are being connected on the back end, right? But then Claude Code now allows you to not only help you do the administrative task of logging everything, like the admin side of the work, you can actually also customize it in a way so that it fits your workflow, right? Just by talking to it.
Yeah.
And so this personalization bit is, I don't think there's any system out there or an app out there that's able to allow you to really optimize and personalize it to the extent that we have been doing it on our own. And I think we'll see it today as we're showing our different workflows. Yeah, so would love to show you my daily note setup. I think it's been a while since we caught up on this. And so I wanted to show you how now my daily note workflow actually works.
Yes, side point. We've been playing around with this a lot, but I think we have the interest in this. And I've been consulting with a lot of people that don't have the interest in trying to learn everything themselves. So for people who want to learn everything themselves, all the nitty-gritty, like how to connect with this and how to set it up and what is possible, and not spend hours trying to look through Twitter or X or Instagram or YouTube in order to find what is possible. I think what we are building is a very nice introduction session to show you what is possible, and you can set it up within a week without spending months and months and months of back and forth and trying to figure it out. And then there's a new functionality that comes out, so now you need to learn that as well. I think we have the basics down. We have the underlying structure with Obsidian that integrates well with Claude Code because it acts as a memory system. But then, as you said, we also have a very opinionated system. So we have daily notes first, we have a project methodology, we have the areas methodology, and all of those just work together well with the admin layer being handled by Claude Code. I'm guessing what I'm saying is if you want to speed up this whole process, join our workshops. Okay, so I think it's time for you to bless us with your system. What do you have? What can you show us?
All right, demo time. I love a good workflow diagram. So wanted to show you how my daily note routine actually looks and where do I automate my system versus where I actually do the manual work because I love my brain. I still want to think. I don't want to offload everything to AI, right? So I'll show you how, at a very, very high level, how I actually go through this workflow. And then I also show you what it actually looks like. So my daily note workflow, it has 3 parts. It's morning, I call it morning manifesto. So how I kickstart my day. And then I do the day log. So throughout my day, I just basically log all the things that happen that is important to me. And then I have an evening shutdown to shut down my day. And so what it looks like at a very high level is this, right? So let's now zoom in on my morning manifestation. Okay, so every morning I do a thing called Orient. So this is generated by Claude. So I basically build a custom skill on Claude Code. It's essentially a /morning-manifestation. So it's unique to me, right? What the skill does is Claude would review my last 3 days to surface up anything that is interesting or anything that I need to remember, and then identify any open loops and blind spots. So, right, like maybe there was a task that I needed to do, or someone said something that I needed to remember. It will basically surface that up. And then it will then give me my today's focus. It will look through all of my open tasks and it'll tell me what are the things that I need to focus on, like what are the top priority things that I need to focus on today. It also gives me a world pulse. So basically, I wanted to look out what's the current news, and then any sort of trending cultural like zeitgeist, like any moment that I like to know, like positive news, pop culture, anything that I'm interested in. So it pulls that up, and then it links to the news article. Any events that are happening in San Francisco over the next 3 days, because I'm finding myself always like hearing about things happening through my friends. It was like, I would like to know what's going on. So it basically looks up all the SF events and then it'll just pull up the ones that I'm interested in. And then calendar, it'll review my calendar for the next 3 days. And then it then basically lists out all the important things that I need to be aware of. So I
That's
basically
nice.
in the morning I just review all of this. Like it's almost like my morning briefing, right? Like it just tells me all the things about my life, and then I review it. And
For
then I
the
do.
Orient,
Mhm.
it's just a quick interjection. My morning manifesto is called morning briefing or just briefing. So when I start my day, I can type any synonym of briefing or morning startup and it knows, okay, go and activate that sequence. And because I kept a journal for 3 years, it goes to 3 years back, 2 years back, 1 year back, and it extracts information from those days, previous years, and it goes and checks what I'm busy with in the last week as well and today. And it gives me insights on, oh, this is something that you saved 3 years ago, which might be applicable to what you're doing now. So it gives me insights from my past self. And there's also an idea that I've been toying around with specifically why you need to keep a journal. Like, why is it useful? And the idea that came to me was you have so much to teach yourself, but you don't give yourself the opportunity to learn from yourself. And what I found is when I go to previous years and it gives me those insights back, what I was busy with, what I was working on, more often than not, there's solutions to the problems that I'm busy with today already that I struggled with and completed and found solutions for in previous versions of myself on that specific day, which to me just shows that our memory is very fallible. And this type of reflection, where you have past information to reflect back on with the problems that you're facing today, is extremely useful. Then the other thing, the world pulse and events. So I had an OpenClaw instance running, and over the last week, I migrated everything to Claude Code. And there's pros and cons of each. With Claude, you're being locked into the Anthropic system. So there is some risk there that if Anthropic goes down or they change something in the policies which makes it more difficult to build things, then you're locked in. With OpenClaw, you can use any model. And there's some trade-offs, but I found that I like everything being in one ecosystem, at least for now. And I've been rebuilding those skills. Go look at my favorite artist. Every morning at 7 a.m., go to the different websites for the artist and pull it into my Obsidian file. And because I have Telegram or WhatsApp connected to my Mac Mini, which is always on, that runs my Obsidian, my Claude Code instance that's always online, it sends me a briefing at 6 a.m. in the morning saying, for all of the artists listed, we found that 2 artists announced shows in Amsterdam, and we have put in tasks for these days of when the sales become available and which websites to look out for. So those type of things, you would have had to pay for things in the past, which you don't need to pay, and you can customize it to exactly how you want to receive the feedback. So just a little bit of a ramble, but I really, really enjoy what you're doing here.
That's so awesome. That's amazing. Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, let me ask you, like you said you move some of this over to like outside of Claude Code, like outside of Obsidian. Does your OpenClaw write back into your Obsidian?
No, so I completely shut down my OpenClaw.
Oh, you
The
did.
reason for that, yeah, the reason for that is all of the functionality that I used OpenClaw for was this news aggregation that you're also doing with Claude Code now. It was the looking for artists and events. It was kind of like controlling its own Gmail account, which forwarded events to my personal one so I can see while I'm on the go, speak to Telegram. So the main thing that I got from OpenClaw was, oh, you have something on Telegram or WhatsApp that you can just speak to and it knows what to go do. And my experience with OpenClaw using OpenAI's model is it feels exactly the same as Claude Code in your Obsidian. It can do exactly the same thing. So they're not too different, but the benefits of using OpenClaw, at least for now, caveats, in the future, it probably won't be the case. There will be better tools that comes along. But the benefits for now is Claude Code has better, or Claude, Anthropic, have better security measures. So security is built into the system, which means there's less chance of something bad happening. With OpenClaw, it is the wild, wild west. There's no rules, no regulations, a lot of power, which is the upside of it. But for all of my use cases, I saw that Claude Code can do everything and it's in one ecosystem,
Yes.
which, at least for my brain, it works. Like I have my Mac Mini, it's always running. That's my online server. And now I connect it to my phone, which I can basically run everything that I'm doing on my computer. I can now just have a voice conversation through Telegram and it knows exactly what to go do. So
Well,
I'll show you a little bit later of how
yeah,
fun it is.
I'm excited to check that out. Like, I'm gonna go out and say, right, I love Claude, right? I love Claude Code, I love Claude Cowork, and the pace of feature release that they've had over the last few months, like, has been incredible. I think they've now caught up to what OpenClaw is able to do, like the key functionalities of what OpenClaw
Mm,
can do, right? Like the Telegram stuff, like you can now connect it to Claude. They just launched a computer use. So if you have Claude desktop, you can actually now control your computer. And then there's Dispatch where you can connect your Claude Cowork with your mobile app. And then also there's remote work. So there's multiple ways that you can now control your Claude instance on your computer via your mobile phone. And I just love how they do it in a very secure way, right? Like I think for OpenClaw, you
mm,
can give it the problem with OpenClaw is if you wanted to have all of these very powerful functionalities, you have to give it a ton of permission.
mm.
And with more and more permission that you're giving it, the blast zone expands, right? So like if something goes wrong, if someone hacks into your system, it can basically like affect a
Yep.
lot of the
Destroy it.
areas, right? Because you're giving
Steal
it
all of your
super
data,
permission.
start recording your screen.
Yeah, whereas like for Claude, you have to give it permission for everything that you want to do, right? Like even
Mm,
they have a functionality called bypass permission, but even with bypass permission, it is still asking you for like the key stuff. Like when there's a major thing that it's doing, it will still ask you for permission, right? And so like I just feel a lot more comfortable using Claude versus like OpenClaw. Yeah.
yeah. But it's going to be interesting now that OpenAI have basically acquired the founder of OpenClaw, and they probably going to build on that. So they're going to have a solution that's going to be working quite well. But the cool thing about Claude and even OpenClaw is all of the information is just saved in plain text files. So if a better solution comes along, you can just point that AI tool to your text files where you have written out the here is the cron jobs that I want you to execute at 6 a.m. every morning, the heartbeats. I want you to do this at this specific time every single day. It can just go read it and then it understands what to do. And you can basically do like a mind transplant to another system
Yes.
and it would work well. I think there's more power for the OpenClaw instance. But for me, the safety versus power, I feel that
Yes.
Anthropic with Claude Code, they give me everything that I want to achieve for now, and it feels safer. So
Yeah.
that's my main concern, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, like I have been looking into this too. I mean, I know we're going off a little bit of tangent to here, but this is really interesting stuff, right? Like my ideal setup is essentially like using a harness that allows me to route different types of work to different language model, right?
Mm,
So if you have a fast, like a powerful enough computer, you can run pretty good local LLMs now. I think Google just came out with Gemma 4.
mm,
There is the Quen model. There is also the Llama model from Meta, and you can run them 100% on your computer, right? But right now there's still some limitation. The idea that I have right now that I'm like basically trying to plan out is for lower level tagging tasks, right? Like I go to the gym, I like had
mm.
dinner, and this is what I ate, or what workouts did I do, or just like I have this quick idea that I just want to jot down. Those the local LMs should be able to use, right? Like I want to be able to route that type of logging to that. Now, when there's like planning work or processing or like any sort of coding related task, then I want to be able to use Claude for that, right? And so that's kind of how the future setup would look like. But that's kind
Yeah.
of in the future, and also it is kind of a bit of a waiting game, right? The local LLMs are getting very powerful now. I think like right now a lot of the models can get up to an OpenAI 3.5 kind of level. Some of them are kind of moving towards OpenAI 4, right?
Mm.
With just a local computer, right? And so it's just a matter of time that it will just catch up. And then it becomes, what harness are you using? Like the OpenClaw is a harness, right? It's basically the harness that your local LLM basically sits inside. And so I'm sure there's going to be more developments there. But for now, I love Claude. I love my Claude Code and Obsidian setup, and it's been able to do everything that I want. And I've been able to build a lot of very interesting things.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to a YouTuber called I versus AI. This lady is brilliant when it comes to anything tech or AI related or Obsidian. So she combines all of that, and she has endless energy to spend to dig out how these things work. And she have different models which she routes to different tasks. So she uses Cursor, which is like Visual Studio Code as well, which it can choose which model it can use. And I'm pretty sure that she has skills that routes to specific models. So that's really possible. Another point, one of my clients, he's also interested to have his connection from Obsidian that he can manage it on his phone. And I was looking into what you need in order to set up your local server. So for me, I bought Into the Craze and I bought a Mac Mini. Best purchase of the year so far. Like I'm so happy with it. It was so easy to install compared to the virtual online servers which you pay people to host stuff for. Some people say it's more secure, which I agree, because the VPS, virtual private servers, have their own security built in. So it's already contained in a much safer way. But for me, I really enjoyed having this cute little Mac Mini sitting on my desk here. But I went a little back and forth while doing research to see if there is more cost optimal solutions. And what basically came back is you can basically use a Raspberry Pi as your online server if you have Google Drive connected to it. So you don't need any space, and you can probably add like local RAM if you want. But if you're just connecting it straight to Google Drive, all that you need is just a terminal open and your Obsidian open and Claude Code open. No memory locally. It just automatically sends it to Google Drive.
Yeah.
So I am buying a Raspberry Pi to test out that hypothesis and
Nice.
see if it actually works. But that means that you can basically have your virtual private server for 15 euros.
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah, that's possible. I haven't played with it yet, but I'm waiting to hear from you on how that experiment goes. But you were talking about your client wanting to have like a local server for the Obsidian use case, right? There's actually a way for you to actually turn your Obsidian into like a web page and then use
Mm,
it's an app called Tailscale and it's free.
mm,
And it just basically connects your phone with your computer that allows you to access the HTML file. I'll show like this is something for a future session when we talk about your curiosity, right? Like the third pillar of life stack. I want to show that.
Yeah, just a quick introduction. So you have 3 pillars that we came up with: your days, your work, your curiosity. Today we're speaking about your days. Next one is going to be work-related stuff, how to manage projects, meetings, work sessions, stakeholder management. And the last one is just a fun bucket of anything that you find interesting. And I'm actually, in front of me, I'm seeing a beautiful rainbow here in Amsterdam. So I'm going to just take a picture so that I can use this for later when I showcase something. Okay. Sorry for interrupting. Oh, what I want to say as well was, yes, Tailscale, which I think I'm actually using. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's 2 ways to get Claude Code and Obsidian on your phone. So I'll pull up the image of what our vision is for the perfect PKM system. And it is one that you can operate with your voice from your phone. It's always online, like all of those nice goodies. 2 ways. The one is you need a computer that's always online in order for this to work. So if you go out in the day and you just leave your computer on, you can already connect to the Claude app on your phone and you can communicate to your laptop, meaning your Obsidian and the Claude Code terminal that's on your Obsidian through your phone. So that's already there. That's the easiest solution. The other solution is if you want to move away from the Claude app, because you still have to like go in, you need to go to the remote access section, then you need to click in it. So it's like 3 steps. For me, I really like the idea of having it on WhatsApp or Telegram when I set up OpenClaw. It just felt like a fun conversation that you're having with a friend instead of like, oh, I'm doing work now. So the second solution was also same thing. You need to have something that's always online. And then you just connect to Telegram, Botfather, and then you always have the terminal that's open on your Mac Mini. So you can basically see what you're writing from your phone to your Mac Mini Claude terminal. You can see what the meshes are, and that's basically all it is. Just a connection from your phone to a terminal on the thing that's always online. So there's a lot of different ways that you can find solution. For me, I'm looking for the one that's the funnest and easiest to implement.
Yeah, so I think I also spoke last time about my Scratchpad that I connected. This was before the Telegram or WhatsApp connection came out for Claude. So I still use that. I love that. I love to have like a dumping ground where I can just like tell everything. And then when I'm back on my computer, I just say process Scratchpad and then it just basically does it. So it's not direct, right? It's not direct to the terminal. I mean, all that's to say is there's so many ways to do it, and you can customize it to the way that you want. And I think that's something that we're able to showcase, right? And in the cohort course, that's where like all of this like sharing is gonna like help people make sense. Like there's like so many ways to do things. Find a way that works for you, and find a way that's fun for you. I think we need to bring fun in, right? Like, what's the point of doing all of this if it's not fun?
Exactly. Okay, so we wandered off. Let's continue.
Yeah, there's just so much, and like there's so much to talk about. All right, let me come back to my morning manifesto. So I'll start my day with my Orient. It gives me a morning briefing, and then I do these thing I call Prime, essentially connecting my body. So I do some meditation. This is like outside of my journal, but I track whether I do these. And then I do a reflect. So this is basically my morning journaling practice. So I brain dump, how am I feeling? What am I grateful for? And then I have like some mantras that I repeat on a daily basis. And then align. So align is basically reminding myself on a daily basis, what are the biggest things that are in my life right now that I need to focus on? So what projects, what outcomes do I want to achieve? And then organize. So sometimes most of the time, I just basically jump into work, right? Whereas I want to have a space where I can think through, okay, well, what are my top priorities for the day? Like scheduling my evening shutdown, making sure that I'm making space for it, triage any sort of open items, right? Actually, I don't even use to-do list anymore. So that's actually old. So because I created my own task system, I cancel my subscription there. So it's basically going through my like task inbox, my calendar, and then my email reviewing like what's important for me.
Yeah.
So that's
awesome.
My morning manifesto. And then throughout the day, I do my day log. So the format always looks like this. So there's a what time did it occurred? It's always like a bullet point. It has an emoji that's related to the type of activity that I do because I'm a very visual person. So I
Mm.
log the type and then I also map it to an area because everything that I do maps to the 7 areas of my life. One of the 7 areas, sign up for our newsletter, sign up for the waitlist. I will be
Mm.
going through that.
Oh yeah.
So essentially all the different areas of our life, everything I do needs to be mapped to these 7 areas so that I know that I'm focusing on the most important things about my life. And then there's a sub bullet that provides the detail. So what that kind of looks like in practice is, I every time I do an admin task or when I watch a TV, like any consume media, every time when I have a meal, when I have an idea, or if I do an activity like meditation, I would basically do this. It's like a general log. So I'll describe it in natural language. So most of the
Mm.
time, what this looks like is I would go to my Telegram app and then I just speak to it or I type into it and say, hey, like I meditated for 20 minutes at 8 a.m. Um, and then on the other end, Claude Code would just process it and then logs it in the way that I want it to. And then like exercise is another one. So it's a workout log. So because right now I'm on a 16-week training plan. And so every
Mm.
week it knows, like every time I work out, I'll say, today is day one, it's push day. And then I'll give it like certain notes, right? It's an 8 out of 10 exercise, any sort of issues that I have, or do I feel strong? So I basically just like talk to it. And then it knows what week of my training is. And then it will basically do the log in that way. Any social activities. So I lock that. I basically, after my social, on my way home, I generally just pull up my Telegram and I basically just like either type it or speak to it. And I said, caught up with, like so and so, where did we go? What did we do? Any sort of interesting conversations that came out of it, and then have a bit of a reflection about that social activity. Um, and then meeting notes and work session, we'll be talking about it next time when we talk about your work. But yeah, that's generally my day long. And then at the end of the day, I have an evening shutdown. So most of this is automated like my morning manifesto. So I give it I build a skill. It's slash evening dash shutdown. And then it basically goes through a few things for me. So I track my life on Whoop. So it fires off a script to look at my Whoop data, and then it will then track it in the Obsidian front matter. So all of the data. I track my macro, so it'll look up my MyFitnessPal, and then it'll sync my macro and calorie data. It will go through my entire day. Oh no, sorry. It will actually file any meeting notes. So if I have any meeting notes that I need filing,
Mm.
file through that. It will triage my inbox. And then what it then do, so it basically it'll do all of the stuff, it'll log it on the page, and then it will then generate between 10 to 40 thematic bullet points about my day. So what I tell it is if I have a light day, then it can just be 10. But if I have a very busy day, right, like I'll like to up to 40, and it just basically lists out all the different key areas of my entire day and then list out like what are the things that I should review. It's basically like a time capsule for me for my future. And so what I would do after this is I would go through my reflect, right? So with reflect, I'm reviewing all the things to remember. And then for any items that are like wins or highlights for me, I put a star sign on it. If it's something that is concerning, like something that I need to keep in mind, I put an exclamation mark next to it. And then if it's just like a pretty generic, general sort of update, then I leave it as a bullet point. And I'll show you in a bit what that looks like. Once I go through that, then I reflect my day. Did I align with my intention? One win for the day, one learning for the day. I don't always do this, but most of the time I would try to do it. I do
Yeah.
find like, I'm a little bit more balanced when I actually do reflect on my days. And
I'm
then,
curious, what do you expect for those bullets? Like one win, one learning for the day. What do you expect to happen in the future when you come back to that note? Like, what is the future benefit that you see for yourself?
yeah, so one thing is it gets rolled up to my weekly note, right? As like another thing that I review at the end of the week. Because one thing I find, at least for me, is my life just moved by so fast, right? It's just constantly propelling forward, and there's not a lot of room for reflection. But the biggest moment in my life comes out of self-reflection, right? My commitment to building up my personal knowledge management system this year came out of an annual review that I did end of last year, right?
Mm,
And like just think about your life as like, you're just hurling forward, and sometimes we don't know what the end point is, right? If we're daily journaling and daily reflecting on our life, we're able to course correct, so that we are living in alignment to ourselves. And that's why this question, did I align with my intentions, is a question that I ask on a daily basis and also on a weekly basis. I haven't built up my monthly yet. Like that is something that I want to, roll through, right? Like monthly, quarterly, and yearly. Did I live my life in a way? And this is something that is in me. No AI systems are able to tell me whether did I live my life intentionally.
mm,
And so, but what the AI system is able to do is it's able to pull up all the data points about my life so that I'm able to reflect in a way that I can be honest with myself. Did I live my life intentionally? One thing I can tell you is since I've started working, like using this system, I have intentionally planned my social life outside of work, right?
mm,
I am forcing myself to say yes to the coffee, say yes to the dinner on a weeknight. Usually I'm like, I'm too busy, I don't want to do it.
mm.
But because I realize like I need to nourish myself with connection, with human connection. And so doing this daily practice allows me, it's like that self-awareness to say, oh yes, like this is something that I should do. Like this is something that I should say yes to, or this is something that I need to say no to, right?
Mm.
And so that's kind of how I think about it. And this like daily, weekly, monthly, yearly check-in, ideally, right? Like I mean, I'm feeling like I'm just moving in the right direction now. Like by year end, when I'm doing my annual review, I'm able to be honest and say, yes, I live my life intentionally, right? And so that is kind of how what I'm building towards. And like the annual review that I did towards the end of last year, that took me so long to get all the data points, review all the photos. Like I need to look through my calendar to understand what's going on. Whereas now, I think with this setup, with everything kind of rolls up in like the live stack method, in year end, I think I can actually like reflect back. It's just like how I mean, I always tell you, every time I see your entire year's log with the 3 photos every day, I'm so envious of that because that is so freaking cool.
But
Just
you have started with the 3 pictures as well every day, right? Have
I
you been
started no,
keeping up with it?
because like so every time I do a social activity, I do take a photo. Every time I'm out for a
Mm,
walk, I take a photo. If I see something beautiful, I don't do it every day because like I would have days where I'm just stuck on my desk for like
mm.
12, 14 hours, right? Like, and so I don't
So
know.
when
I don't feel like I should take a photo of my desk on those days. I
oh,
don't
but you
feel like doing
should. You should. So that's what I do. Like there's some days where I get to the end and it's 1 a.m. in the morning and I'm like, oh, I didn't take any photos. Then I would just like take a photo of like my house or something like that. It's like, oh, there's my guitar. Or if I'm working on something, I would just take like a screenshot like, oh, I'm working on this article and that would be my picture for the day.
Actually,
And
that's a
even
good
if it
idea. I need to start
feels
doing that because my apartment is so messy right now. I need to take a photo of that, that messy apartment.
yeah,
So I,
Because even just an apartment, like a photo of an apartment, or the photo that I'll show you a little bit later with my use case of the rainbow outside, I'm probably going to look back at that photo at the end of the year, and then like maybe in 5 or 10 years' time, and I'm going to remember, oh, I remember taking that photo. That's when I was going through the Telegram Obsidian Claude Code discussion with Gene, and that's going to bring back some memories that I would probably have not have had. So any photo, it's not going to eat up more space. Like we have infinite space. So it's one of the clients, he asked me like, am I worried about using up so much space with all of the images that I'm taking? I'm like, no, all my images is in my attachments folder. If I run out of space, it's easy enough to just transfer everything and just make sure it links correctly to my daily notes. So storage is not a problem.
You know what? You can also use Claude Code to actually resize your, not resize, basically compress your photo to like lower byte. Yeah.
Yes. So the thing is, I've been doing this for basically like 3.5 years of every day taking 3 photos. And throughout the day, there's other screenshots and stuff that I take. I've not run into any performance issues.
Yeah.
When I do, there's numerous infinite solutions that you can come up with that's easy enough to implement. So do it until you get stuck.
I was telling you last time that like I feel lucky that I moved over to Obsidian at the right time, right?
Yeah.
Because imagine like doing this on Notion, like it gets so clunky. Like once you get up to a certain amount of notes, right? Like we're not even talking picture, right? The load time is really, really slow. Whereas this is all local, like this is all on your computer. Anyways, I digress. But yeah, so quickly, the rest of it is just basically organizing. So what it does is when I do my evening shutdown, when I execute that skill, it goes to my calendar and looks up, all the important things that are coming up over the next day. And then I basically look through it and I look at, what's the most important thing I need to be aware of. And then I do a shutdown reflection. So that's evening intention, shutdown mantra, any brain dump that I have, and then I close my day. So yeah, so that's kind of how everything works for my daily note setup. It's
Nice.
3 steps: morning manifesto, daily log, and then evening shutdown. The morning manifesto and the evening shutdown takes me about like 30 minutes usually. And yeah, and I also like I'm a little loose with it in the sense that when I'm too busy, like I'm okay to deprioritize it. But what I make sure to do is I make sure I review on a weekly basis. I do my weekly reviews.
Yeah, I'm curious to see a little bit more of your evening shutdown as well, because I've been experimenting with different evening shutdowns to find which one works for me. And I had a evening shutdown skill as well, which took me through a couple of the bullet points, like also like highlights of the day, like all of those type of things. And for some reason, it just didn't work for me. What I enjoy is I like to sit down and just write. And I came across this article, which I'll also just put in the description, which I found very enlightening for people who like to write. So for me, I like to write. And he basically says, at the end of your day, think of your day as snapshots. So he goes through different snapshots that you can write about. And it's like, okay, is there a smell that came to mind? Is there something cool that you saw? How did you feel? Is there any thoughts that came up? And just with those little prompts, I'm looking back throughout my day. And it's like, okay, cool sights that I saw. In Amsterdam today, it was very rainy, but also very sunny. So you'd be cycling and you'd be drenched. And then the next moment, it would just be summer. Like everybody out in Vondel Park, just walking their dogs. There's tulips floating in the Vondel Park, like river, like beautiful. And those prompts helped me at the end of the day to actually give my day color. And I've been doing this now for a week with this prompts, and I've been loving it because it doesn't feel like a job. So sometimes I feel like skills. It's like, give the highlights, give this, and give this. For me, it doesn't work. For me, I like the more open-ended, which I can basically write about my experience of the day. And I know that when I come back, when future me comes back to this day and read that, he is going to really enjoy it. So there's different ways on how you can optimize how your brain works. So for me, it's just I like writing.
I actually built that into my weekly review. So you know how I talk about like the top things to know, right? It's like 10 to 40 things. I star them or put an exclamation mark. So star for highlight, exclamation mark for any challenges or friction. And then what it does for me on my weekly note is it pulls out all of the ones that I bookmarked with a star and exclamation mark, and then it lists out on a full list on the weekly review on all the things throughout my week. And then one of the things that it does is it generates a 5-question prompt about my week. That's where I do my reflection writing.
Yeah.
It's kind of scarily good, like the questions that it asks. It's interesting.
And
Because the way on my skill, what I gave it is like act like a life coach and therapist, right? Like,
yeah,
and I basically like guide it like what type of questions I want to reflect on. And it does a really good job in giving a really good customized prompt on a weekly basis.
yeah. The other thing that I also noticed is for the evening shutdown, I was looking for prompts. So I have that saved as a skill that when I want to do my end of day and I'm looking for inspiration, give me some prompts of things that could stir my memory to like bring it back up. But I also noticed that you just need to consume more information that you like and then bring it into your vault as reference. So there's, I think it was a guy from Atomic Habits that said that all your thoughts is downstream from what you consume. So if you have bad sources and books and television and YouTube that you consume, your thoughts is also going to reflect what you're consuming. So if you're interested in a specific subject, like I want to get into a good journaling practice, go and find articles, go and find YouTube videos that you resonate with, and then you basically just bring in their knowledge into your system, and then you just create a skill around it. And if you don't like it, go find more sources, read about it, listen to it, see what resonates with you, and then bring it into a skill. And I promise you, within a month, you would find something that just feels so damn good to work with, because it's your curiosity that's basically like feeding this whole system. It's quite nice.
100%, 100%. And like I would close that loop, right? What you're saying is like what you're consuming is like the downstream to your like your thoughts are downstream to what you consume. And it's not just what you consume, but it's the life that's happening around you, right? What you consume, what happens to you, people around you and all that. And then you basically journal it, and then you do your reflection, right? So that you will then course correct or take action for your life so that you improve the environment that you're in. So you improve the things that you consume, the people that you meet with and all of that. And then, you know, like it's actually the journaling practice allows the closing of the loop, right?
Double loop learning, boy.
Sorry?
It's double loop learning. It is fixing the core beliefs which you might not have seen if you didn't have the point of reflection. So reflection is the thing that, oh, this is not working, and you can only see it because you are doing your daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly review. So most people only get that double loop learning feedback at the end of the year when everybody's doing end of year review. Yes. But then you're also doing a very shitty job with your year-end review because you don't have all of the sources. It's too much effort to get to those reflections, so then just give up, and then it's just the same year again with the same mistakes. But I think with people who's been using journal quite a bit, they get feedback loops all the time.
For me, I don't even do the annual review until recently, you know? So like there's actually a lot of people that don't even do any form of reviewing, no judgment here, that like whatever works, right? Like I thought it worked for me, but just starting to have this journaling practice to anchor, starting from my day, right? It's been very eye-opening. I think the annual review that I did was very eye-opening, and then it sort of pointed to the fact that I needed something to anchor my life with. And this like journaling system, like the second brain that I built, is really helping me get there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree. Okay, well, are we going to go into some examples?
Yeah. All right. So before I show you, I mean, you know this, but like whoever that's seeing this, you have to understand I am a maximalist. So you will see a lot of information. This is actually a demo vault, so everything's anonymized. So I don't think I should be showing anything personal, but
But the
yeah,
sleep
so
hours is correct.
I know. I just, yeah, like I've been very, very busy. I had my sleep basically plummeted over the last few weeks. And so it just kept on coming up, right? Like I would review this. I'll come back to the properties here later on. So essentially, these are just like things that, like I have not been using it as long as you did. I haven't started collecting birthdays and all that, so I don't have anything. But this is something
Oh,
that
I don't lose birthdays anymore. It's fantastic. And I created a new skill that messages me at the beginning of the morning to say if there's anybody's birthday that's happening today. And I think the next step is I am going to send an automated message at 11 p.m. if I haven't sent them a message yet that basically says, "Hey, D forgot your birthday. Apologies." It's like from the spot. So just to force myself to like, okay, if I know it's somebody's birthday and the person is in my vault, that
yeah.
person is probably important to me. So I need to put in the personal effort to at least call them or wish them happy birthday. If not, I get roasted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice. All right, so I have this like basically task panel that I have. So like it's basically one of the things I actually change this a little bit. So it's all the things that I need to focus on in the different time horizons. And
Mm.
then I also have a view of all of the different projects that I'm working on. So it's like career, like live projects and work projects.
Nice.
And then photos of the day. So basically place it up here. And this is where the morning manifesto happens. So Orient. So this is all AI generated. So it looks through my past 3 days. You can see how like 5.1 4 hour, 5.2, like I like sleep is just horrible right now. Basically helps me review like what are the key things that happened over the last few days. And then open loops, it looks through my tasks and then it says, hey, like 4 days since the workshop, you need to get this done. Basically pulls out all the different things that I need to work on. And then today's focus. So what are the things that I need to focus on? It looks at my day's calendar.
Mm.
And then this is the world pulse, right? So it looks up all of the different things. So when I started building this, I only wanted, like I said, like just build me a world pulse, like global headlines. And it's
Yeah.
just like all the like really like heavy news. And I'm like, I would like to know about that, but I would also
But
like to
that
know
is
what's going
this
on
is
too.
so cool. So
Yep.
this gave me a lot of ideas because you mentioned the zeitgeist, which is just specific to that point in time. So when there's like something going throughout, OpenClaw was part of the tech zeitgeist. Everybody was using it like in the space. So that would be news that would come up. And again, because it's listed there as links, it's not like actual notes, it's just like a couple of bullet points. When you come back to it, you can basically get a window into the zeitgeist of that day or that week or that month as well, which even to somebody else just going through your vault, they would find this fascinating. It would be like a little
Yeah.
time capsule of everything that happened. Oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna incorporate that tonight.
Yeah, so I basically asked it to pull out. Yeah, so like in addition to the global headlines, because it's always very heavy. And so I'm like, well, give me some culture and good news. So pull up
Yeah.
some of the stuff around that. I haven't started doing this as much, but I'm just gonna start like improving the skill to say, hey, I want more of these type of news versus more of like any specific topics that I like. Right now, it's just inferred. Yeah, so you can actually guide it a little bit more. And then this is all the events that are coming up in San Francisco over the next few days. And then the calendar. So for the next 3 days, what are the things that are happening that I need to be aware of? Because you know how like I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't check my calendar as often. And usually I've committed to something like months ago
Mm.
and I like don't have a way to remind myself about it. So this is essentially looking to fix that. And then I then go through my prime, my reflection. These are all like things that I write. So these are not AI generated, aligned. So what are my top priorities? organize. So basically, like, make sure I understand what are the most important things that I need to get done.
Yeah.
I remember reading somewhere like you can really, like, on a good day, you can really do like three to four things, three to four big things, right? We only have finite hours where we can have full focus. So I want to be very, very clear on what are the most important things that I need to get done. And then I do a check-in and say, hey, like when am I doing my evening shutdown? So holding myself accountable. I need to update this. I don't use to-do-list anymore. And then it's my day log. My day log, like, all the work meetings. Meetings, we'll talk about it next time. But essentially, it'll just be like different meetings and then meeting, like lunch. I am like on a fitness program right now and I'm also dieting. So I kind of want to know what I'm eating. And so I log this in my fitness file. But for me, it's the motion of like listing out the things that I ate just to like be a little bit more intentional about my food. So usually when I eat lunch, I watch a TV show. So like I basically do that. And sometimes I don't watch the full thing. I just like log in and say, hey, I watched like 16 minutes of this, and then it's log it for me.
There's another idea that people can also steal is if you watch a lot of Netflix or something like that, you can connect to your Netflix API to automatically pull in that information. You can automatically connect to your YouTube API to automatically pull in what you watch when you watch it, if you like the type of information.
Yeah.
So just an idea.
More like I want to be intentional about what I consume. Obviously, like there's a ton of entertainment. I actually built this out. So I now have this media library that like links the TV show that I watch. This is a good show.
How did you get the photo to be at the left side of the properties?
Yeah, there's a plugin called Pretty Properties.
Yeah.
And so every time I watch like a new TV show, Claude basically builds this thing, and then what it does is it will like give me all the like overview, synopsis, the creative teams, cast, interesting facts about it. Because sometimes I want to like, especially if something I really like, I want to like know a little bit about it. And then this is where it's really cool. So every time I watch the show, it would basically put in like when I watch it. So it'll give the title, the summary, and then it'll give like the dates that I've watched it.
So you can just say that I'm watching the next episode and it falls in this automatically. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
so
a cool
the
use
first
case.
time it will, this is all the curiosity stuff, right? But this is just like it's quite fun. And I think I built out it's a media base. Media library. Yeah. Can you see this? These are like all the things I've watched recently.
Oh, you watched Into the Manosphere, Louis Theroux. Oh no, that's not the.
It is. Oh, actually, yeah, that's wrong. Like this is a demo. Wow, I asked it to change.
Yeah. Sorry for pointing it out. But it looks sleek. Oh, Project Hail Mary. I went to go watch it on Friday evening because I read the book, and they did it. They did it justice. I'm so happy because I was a little bit scared because I really liked the book. And I thought they might mess it up, but they kept true to the source material, which I was very happy about.
I haven't read the book. I hear the audiobook's really good, so I may get into it. Don't you think the rock looks like the Claude Code mascot?
I did not think about it, but now kind of, yes. But it's funny, in the books, they have Rocky, the Rock in the movie, the alien, where he doesn't understand fist bump, so he says fist me. And it was interesting that they didn't use that wording. They used bump my fist or something like that because fist me is probably too sexual. So that was my only criticism of the movie is like they made it.
Really? Okay.
They made it that kids can also watch it, which irritates me.
Yeah, so like essentially like my day long, my daily activities, right? So sometimes I take a nap, I'll log that. Work sessions, we'll cover this next time.
Right.
And then like
I mean, with your, sorry, a quick question. The Whoop, it can also It can also auto detect when you take a nap, which can also log it automatically. Yeah. right?
I don't log naps right now because I mean I try not like I'm trying to improve my sleep and not have to nap.
Mm.
But it is something that yeah, I'll show you in a bit what that looks like. And then like any administrative task, it will just log it. And this is where the evening shutdown comes in. Okay.
Mm.
So what I do is I go / evening dash shutdown, execute it. It basically does a few things. It looks through my wait, where does it start first? It will look through yeah, so okay, it basically starts with the Whoop sync. It will
Mm.
go to my Whoop and then it starts looking at my sleep hours, my sleep rating. So I gave it a formula. So if it's below, if my recovery score is below 50%, it is -1. So we should -1. My strain score, so like how much activity I did in the day, it'll give it that. Strength training, cardio, meditation, abs, stretch. This is something because when I go to the gym, these are the activities that I would do, right? And so if there is an activity that it will then, in my day log, it will then know to mark it as 1 versus 0.
Yeah.
And then step count is something that I have to put in. It's not extractable. So something I put in myself. And then I give it my energy rating, my day rating based on how my day went. And then the MyFitnessPal will look through my data and then it will sync my calories, protein, carbs, fat intake. And then I give it a healthy eating rating. So I basically think about the food that I ate. Is it healthy? And then I'll give it a rating. And then I give it a summary. Before I do the summary, what it does is it looks through my entire day's journal. And then it then basically goes through this things to remember about my day. It logs out all of the different things, right? Like just basically like entry logs. And then if it's something that I am that is like bad or challenging or friction or something that I need to like remember, I put a star sign. Sorry, an exclamation mark sign. If it's something that like is going really well, then I put a star sign. Right. And so that's kind of how I bookmark these moments that I like truly want to remember. Like social, I star this. Like my sleep, that's not going well, so I put like an exclamation mark.
That's also very cool because it's easy enough to extract that information whenever you want to review it. And it's not extra work per se, because if you just talk into Claude saying this is a highlight, just change the bullet points or the log, it does it. So it's no extra work, but you just allowing yourself extra context for when you need it. That's cool.
Yeah. And then the evening shutdown is essentially, I call this admin party. I took this from Ali Abdaal because he says like, things that you don't like to do, like reframe it.
Good party at the end.
Admin party. So like I basically do go through all of these things. I reflect on my day, reflect one win, one learning, and then organize. Is there anything happening tomorrow that I need to keep in mind for? This right now, this is actually done by the AI. So like, is there anything that I need to remember about tomorrow? It then basically helped me enter that. And then I then basically figure out what is my first move for tomorrow. And then shutdown. So what's my tonight's intention? Repeat this mantra and then evening brain dump. If there's anything that's like on my mind.
Yeah.
So that's my JE note. And
an unrelated question, we can cut this out if we want to. For this example vault that you're showing, this is a reflection from your actual vault, but just changing everything that it's not personal details, but it's still like a reflection of your life, right?
Yes.
I don't see anything incriminating, but the point that I want to make is this is very useful for showing people stuff from your sensitive Obsidian vault. So if you want to extract things from your Obsidian, you can basically run through the LLM to basically say, change all the names, change these things that I don't want people to show, and you can easily share personal information and basically eliminate the things that you don't want people to see. So it's becoming easier to share things with other people as well because of this. Okay, so that was your daily notes.
Yeah, so essentially that is how like I run through my day. And as I mentioned, right, like since having this, like I think I've been running this for the last coming up to 2 months now, right? Like I've been improving it to my workflow, and I have a very nice setup that I love. I find I'm able to anchor my day from morning till the evening, right? So I'm living my life a little bit more intentionally. And then just quickly show you what does this look like on the weekly note side. So how I roll things up. So essentially, same thing, 3 photos of the week, right? And then this top things to remember. So this is actually like at the end, like just like how it does the top things to remember for my day, it will do the top things to remember for my week. But it doesn't just do it itself. So I have like this line, reflect and line section where I do all my journaling. It's a version of my daily practice, but then I roll it up for weekly to talk about the entire week. And then I talk about my health and fitness. I reflect on that. But what did I learn about myself? This is what I talked about before, right? So it basically goes through my entire week, and then it gives me all of this question, like prompt questions. And then what are my focus areas next week? So it reminds me what are the things that I need to focus on. And then review. So I review the week, this week at a glance. It looks at all these different things. I love metrics. And so it'll give me things like how many tasks I completed, tasks open, meetings attended, who are the people I spent time with. And this is where, you know how I set like all of the stars and the exclamation mark? I basically asked it to pull in all of that word for word here in this week's highlights and challenges for me to have another round of review, right? What are the things that I want to commit to my monthly review? Yeah, so for the daily note, right? So I basically have all the daily notes. I'm like, I love metrics. I look at trends and all of that. And so I have all of that on a daily. And this is where it gets interesting because then I can then see on a weekly basis, right, my notes, all the notes on a glance, and then all the photos that I have. And then weekly stats is all the stats that I have, right? Like basically I track it. I can look at it on a daily basis. And then I've also created this dashboard where I can look at week over week trends. So my habit tracker, so like last week versus this week, like how did I do? And then all the different ratings, right? Comparing each day. I think the sleep hour one is interesting. Like, yeah, so it's kind of five.
You showed me this about a week ago, and it gave me some inspiration to do this as well. And I really like this. This is such a cool way to compete against yourself, where you can see like, oh, last week my sleep was shit. This week you can see that you have gone better and better and better. So it's almost like a mini challenge that you set for yourself, and it's not unrealistic challenges. It's just versus your previous self.
Yeah, like you see how like the sleep rating is objective because it's measured by, right? Like you see how there's so many that's just like zeros and like negatives, and I'm like, I need to fix it. Like compared to last week, right? I at least I have like some good sleep, and so this is like the key area for me that I need to focus on. And then the strain pattern is interesting because like during the week I literally don't move much. And then weekends, I like basically have a burst of that. Like same with my steps. I have very low steps. Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's just things that you're interested in. You can basically do this. You can basically set up a visual way to do this, and then like an overview, week over week summary, and then my life chart. Where I give the 7 areas of my life a rating. Yeah, that's my weekly roll up. I know you're going to talk more about that, but I am a maximalist. This is a lot. And I'm sure when you show yours, it's going to be a lot more simplistic and calm. And I'm looking forward to see what I can learn from yours too. So,
A quick side note, if you are watching this and you feel like you want to set this up yourself and you want to build it out but you don't know where to start, the link in the description is where to go. It would save you months of blood, sweat, and frustration.